Hi guys, Josh here. We're going to talk about farming gear efficiently in the world within for 11.2. Gear yourself up with the efficiency of a Mythic Raider. Be aware that this 11.2 guide was done on 10th of August 2025, which means if anything changes, which is going to be very unlikely given that it's out already, I'd be surprised and shocked and appalled and annoyed. First up, we're going to talk about where do we start. So we're going to use Koresh as a guide, and we will need to bring up the gearing chart and ascertain where your likely gear level will be that you could actively grind up unlimited, which is most likely going to either be Delves or Mythic Plus. Most likely it's going to be Mythic Plus. Any 1 rating Mythic will immediately switch from Mythic rating, which means that you'll get 1 out of 6 Mythic track items, which makes this a lot easier for yourself. Most people should tone down your expectations that you'll probably get mostly Mythic Plus loot and Heroic Raid loot, and maybe some Mythic bosses down along the way where you get Mythic track item at least. For most people, like myself, it'll be just be Heroic Raid and Mythic Plus loot. Any Mythic track loot you get from raids or doing Taz of Vesh Deathless is a bonus rather than the norm. So here's the gearing guide from Fisher's Ultimate Gear Guide on Reddit. Now, what you want to go through is you want to check how much the Delvi level is, which is 684. The Crafted item level, which is 720, which is down here. Next up, you're going to go through the raid as well. So you can see here for raids that, doing the first few bosses, you get a 710 item level, which is the first, which is, I believe, second Mythic track. So that's also important to see as well. And last but not least, you want to see the upgrade crest as well, what you need to upgrade, and also the Mythic Plus. So with the loot, you can see for Mythic Plus, maximum you can grind is 701, the max you can grind in Delves is 684, and the maximum raid, which is once a week that you can grind via Heroic and Mythic, is 704 and 710. Which means that the most grindable stuff, raid is out, Delves are out as well because it's lower eye level, is actually going to be a Mythic Plus. So you are going to get 701 eye level from Mythic Plus, which is the highest. Now remember as well, every tier has a spark, which means you can use 2 of the fragments to combine together to make a spark, and you can craft an item. If you get 60 gilded crests, for example, you can make it into a set eye level 720, but we'll get this at later on. If you receive an item at a high eye level, any item with a low eye level can be upgraded to the item's eye level without spending any crests. So if you get a 704 chest and then you get a 697 tier chest, you can upgrade that to 704 without spending any crests. However, there are certain slots that you need to fill both slots for at 701 eye level, which is just weapons, trinkets, and rings. If the content tier is in between tier, like 11.1 to 11.2, with your crafted gear, you can just recraft it with the new spark and the new crests, and this will save you from crafting a whole another item. Again, it'll save you a lot of mats and save you a lot of gold. So you can just simply recraft the gear, right-click the sparks, and right-click the gilded crest and put the new gilded crest and new spark in, and bang, you're there. As you saw on the previous page, you want to look at the baseline. The baseline that I call, the one you can farm content infinitely, would be Mythic Plus, and it'll be 701, which is 3 out of 6 Heroic. At this point, you will need to check which currency you need to upgrade the loot by 1 eye level. And as you can see on the previous graph, it is Rune Crests. So if you want to get to 704, you have to use Rune Crests. At this, basically, what this means is that you want to check your bake points for where you would attain the feat of strength for no longer needing Rune Crest, which is 704 in level 2. Also, you want to check the ones that are below it as well, which means that the previous crests, such as Carved and Weathered, you don't need to use those anymore. You can use that at any time you want. You also want to check what is the highest eye level that anyone can craft and what crests are needed for it. So it's going to be Gilded at 7.2 or 720, as we discussed last time. Bis items do not matter, okay? At this method, bis items do not matter. If you get like a chest with Versatility and Mastery, which is your class's 2 worst stats, it doesn't matter. As long as it's 701, it is fine. Pretty much if you get, say, for example, later on you get bis item at 697, you can upgrade it to 701 anyway, which is great. You want to check how much crests you can get per week, which is 90 per week in 11.2. Now, be aware for Ruined and Gilded, you can get 180 in the first 2 weeks, because basically, your season started at the first week, the actual first week, the pre-season week. So be aware of that. So if you're able to farm 701 level, this means you do not need to upgrade any item at all if it needs Rune Crest upgrade, okay? So if it's 697 or 694, do not use your Rune Crests. Wait till you get an item level of 701 from the item. As I said before, any currency lower than Rune can be used, so Carved and Weathered can be used immediately. You want to farm loot via your chosen method, which is likely Mythic Plus, until you have every single slot at 701. If anyone uses their spark, you can skip one of the items, such as a weapon, for example, or or a ring or whatever. You can skip one item to crafting it to 720, as you don't need to grind at 701. Any mythic looting from raiding or Deathless Tazavesh is a bonus and keep it as such, okay? So if you get a mythic track item from a Deathless Tazavesh or mythic loot, it is fine. After you get 60 gilded crests, you want to exchange this item for an enchanted gilded crest so you can craft a 720, okay? Which is equal to 5 or 6 mythic. It will save you 15 gilded crests. That's pretty much it. Remember that on a Spark week? So what a Spark week is, it's the week where you craft Spark. So the first week, you've got a Spark ready to go. The second week, you have 1.5 sparks. The fourth week, that's the Spark week. Okay, that's the week you're going to craft a Spark. So you want to keep 60 aside in the previous week. So week 2, you want to keep 60 aside because you craft another Spark, which allows you to get another 720 eye level. So basically, you want to have another enchanted gilded crest ready to go the moment next week starts. So you do your pinnacle chest, get your part of the Spark, make the Spark, and then make the next item to 720 eye level. So for most people, for myself, it's going to be the Adrenal Belt potentially as well to 720. If you're able to do a Deathless run of Tazavesh, you should do this once a week, okay? Because it gives you a random Mythic plus track item level, which could be massive and which could... You don't need to have a 701 eye level to be farmed at the end of the day. For currency levels higher than your base currency, so gilded basically, you can use these to upgrade at any given time that you have enough to craft another piece of a Spark week is coming up. So for example, in the first week, you'll get 120 gilded crests that you could upgrade with. 120 gilded crests to craft, because your second week, you'll get your next Spark. But for future weeks, it'll be 120 gilded crests, because you only get one Spark a fortnight, basically. If you receive a mythic tier piece from Mythic Raid or Vault, this will save you potential rune crest going forward. So that's pretty much it. This is talking about Mythic Track. Any item that's currently the maximum eye level you can farm, so 701, you can upgrade using it rune immediately. It should be one upgrade until it needs gilded. So basically you need 225 at maximum, but if you've got 2 items you can craft, it's actually 195, okay? So most likely in the first week you need 210, take 4 weeks, but most likely it's going to be 195 instead, because you're going to be crafting 2 items. Now also as well, with the belt, it doesn't matter with the Delve belt, because the Delve belt's only 701, so it won't get you to the 704 eye level. So basically, once you've got everything to 704 eye level, you can upgrade all the pieces that you do not intend to craft with gilded. So for example, I'm going to say right now, non-tier items, okay? That's the next ones you want. The non-tier items are going to be one that you want to craft, and the tier items, the ones you want to be upgrading, okay? That's the main things, because you can't change a crafted item into a tier item, but you can craft, non-tier items such as braces, boots, and belt and whatnot. So just be aware of that. You don't want to upgrade a chest or a shoulder, or you can upgrade an off piece as well. Let's say, for example, you're not going to use legs, you can craft that instead. But just be aware to make sure that with your second crafting item or future crafting items, to not craft a tier piece slot. So don't craft anything in head, shoulders, chest, legs, and gloves, because they're all tier sockets. Remember that trinkets are not craftable, therefore you can upgrade this slot without any issue in wasting crests, okay? There's no craftable trinket, so you basically, if you want to upgrade a trinket, yes, you can do so, and you should do so. Now, at the same time, with crafting each week, I explained this before, but on week 1, you have 60 gilded crests left over after your crafting, because you use 120 for crafting, to upgrade one mythic slot by 4, and in future fortnights, you have 120, because you only use 60 to craft it, and you'll get 180. So you want to use the 60 120 gilded crests to upgrade hero or myth track items with gilded. Most likely you want to try to upgrade the myth track items with gilded, because they'll skip one track basically, and also you won't be just be getting more eye level, which is very, very important. You should use future guild crests on any slot where there's a tier or items that you not use a crafted item for, such as a chest, shoulder, helm, gloves, and leggings. So what that means in particular is that you should be using those enchanted gilded crests for those items to craft. A basic upgrade priority would be this. It is trinket, tier slot, and every other slot that you're not putting a craftable into, okay? So pretty much is that you upgrade your trinkets first, then you upgrade your tier slots, and every other slot you're putting a craftable into. So that includes one ring as well, because you won't be crafting a ring. You can only craft one ring. Out of all of this, you'll need 1,200 best case scenario for gilded to 1,440 for gilded to max out everything, basically. The main reason for this is assuming that you get very unlucky on getting mythic track items, so you have to upgrade hero items to get 2 out of 6, essentially. This would take about 16 weeks, i.e. 9 spark weeks. Now, using an example above, and you'll save 135 from using 9 sparks, it goes down from 1305 to 1200. Okay, to get max ladder level. And just to put it simply, overall, is that yeah, you'd be in a pretty good place. Like you'd be probably 720 eye level, and if you get any items that you've got crafted, you can upgrade those with gilded to 6L6 at any time. Just remember that you always have two crafted items purely for the embellishments. This amount's also reduced as well if you get any items from Mythic Rating or any items from Mythic Tazavesh, because some people do have the Mythic Hard Mode Tazavesh items as being the best in slot. Demon Hunters have a ton, so yeah. Now it seems complicated, so how do we keep it simple and how do we get a quick guide? Well, a quick guide is this, is that if you can farm it infinitely, you want to farm that eye level as quickly as you can. So 701 in this instance is that you don't upgrade any item until it's 701. Any currency below it, so if it's not ruined, which 701 needs to upgrade to 704, you can upgrade it freely. So carved and weathered, you can farm it, you can craft it anytime. If you want to craft any item that's non-tier as a priority, so you want to do it as a priority. If it's non-tier, craft it as 720 as a priority, because you want to make sure because most people's tier set bonuses are actually pretty good. So you don't want to craft, as I said before, shoulder, gloves, chest, legs, or anything like that, or helm. With upgrading, you want to upgrade any trinket first with gilded, especially if it's got mythic track, followed by any non-tier slot that you are not crafting by the tier slots. If you get any loot from mythic rating or its vault, it's a bonus and reduces the amount of gilded needed. Just keep the above method in mind when approaching future tiers or future expansions, as basically you can gear like a mythic raider by doing so. And that's very, very important as well. Also, you want to keep an eye out on any odd circumstances or different circumstances. For example, with a Deathless Tazavesh giving a mythic track item. So if there's anything different like that, you want to keep an eye out and consider that into your plans as well. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this quick guide. And I hope you guys have a great second week and have a great season 3. See you guys later. Bye.